Landscapes. We also call them sceneries. We always love to draw them, but sometimes the drawings are not good enough. They remain flat, and we often think that we are not good at drawing. But actually, we are wrong. We can do landscapes, a very simple one, much easily and quickly. So, in this lesson, we will learn how to convert your drawings from this to this. Welcome to Art by Arnab. So in this lesson, we will be learning how to draw a simple landscape with pencil sketch method. So for this, we are using a mechanical pencil with 0.5 to 0.2 lead, few makeup brushes with flat tips, one paper stump for blending, and a set of matte pencils from Faber-Castell. So first, in case of landscape drawing, we have to divide our vision or our view into some planes. Pardon me because my camera was flickering. So first what we did is divide the whole page into few sections by two parallel lines crisscrossing each other. The 4 points where the lines meet each other becomes our focal point. We should draw the main attractions or the main key elements in those focal points. Next, we define the sky area, the meeting point of sky and land, and then the whole land itself. To create a depth, first I drew a bush or little leaves in front which seems to be very near to the view. Then I drew the area where the land meets the sky or the longer vision, and I drew a small house in between those area. And after that, in the longer distance, we have finally drew the mountains. Please note that I am sketching very lightly just to lay out the positions that where I should give which detail. Once this is done, I start by basic shading. Now before adding the shading, I'm just scribbling around to add few more elements. Here I'm doing with 2B pencil. I drew few bush and add to them the leaf shades. Now since it's in a distance, I'm not doing any detail, but just doing a circular motion of my pencil. In the same circular fashion, I'm using the blender or the paper stump to blend the scratch marks of the pencil. This will give a softer look of the overall shadow areas. Next, since we drew the sun in between the mountains, the light will be falling on the house and it will be casting shadow. Hence, we shaded the shadow area and then we blended the same area with paper stump. While blending, our marks or the key scratches or the key lines may get lost. So I'm redoing those lines with my mechanical pencil once again. Once this is done, next I move to shading the house. Now first I draw the key shadows like the areas which are straight under the tiles or under the roof. I make them a bit more dark with my 4B pencil and then blend them with the paper stump. I drew a very minute amount of bricks with my 0.5 mm pencil, and then blend the shadow of the roof also in the same way. Since few of the lid has been always stuck with the paper stump, even if I move my paper stump on plain paper, it will create some kind of very faint and light shadow. So continuing with the shading in the same fashion, and then adding few details. Please keep in mind, I am also erasing few parts where I feel that the shading is way too much, so that the shade may get blended and is equal on all the areas. Next, I add few blades of grasses, and then I start making the road. Now, one thing to note here is that I'm always using the pencil in the same direction. I'm not changing the direction of the strokes, but trying to keep it as same as possible, and I'm also using the paper stump in the same direction to blend them. This will give a very smooth look for the overall image. I'm erasing the areas where there is a requirement of highlight, so I'm using my Staedtler eraser to do that. About the art materials that I am using, I have already done a descriptive video for doing or introduction of the sketches. You can find this video by clicking on the I button above on the corner. So next I add some shading to the most nearest part of the elements in our image, which is near the viewer's eye, that is the little bush with some leaves. So since it is very near, we have created the leaves very prominently and adding the midribs in between them. I'm using my Monotombo eraser to do that. Please keep in mind that we are creating this illusion of depth by drawing few things or few elements very near to the viewer, something in between, and the rest at a very longer depth. So this difference of elements and their placement in different position create an illusion of depth, which makes the image or the picture having a much more depth and much more detail inside it. Once I'm done with the field, I'm finally adding the chimney on the top of the roof. So for this, I'm using the same 4B pencil and detailing with the 0.5 mechanical pencil. I'm erasing the part where I feel there is a requirement of sharp highlight, and after doing that, I'm blending with the makeup brush. Next, I start drawing the horizon. So in this, I'm trying to just give very lighter strokes. I'm using a 2B pencil because as we move away from the distance, a little thin layer of fog and dust used to make or create an illusion of lightness in the scenery. So as we move to greater distance, the shading will be much more lighter. I'm using the kneaded eraser or the eraser which looks like a lump of clay to erase some parts. I'm lightly dabbing the areas to create an illusion of very loosely packed grasses. Next, I'm adding another layer of trees in far horizon. So for that, I'm doing light scratches or light strokes of pencil and then blending them. Remember to keep your pressure in control so that it won't be too much dark. Finally, I go to the mountain area. So I'm not drawing a very snow-clad mountain, but a simple rocky mountain. And then I'm adding some amount of shades with the help of my blending brush, or in this case, the blending stump. The lost detail areas are added with another layer of pencil stroke. And then I went to the next mountain. But one thing to notice here, the amount of pressure I applied for the first mountain is much more in comparison to the second one, because as I told, as we move our view or the vision far away, the things get lighter and the lightness increases. So things are much more brighter as we move further. Adding the clouds. So for that I'm using again my 2B pencil. The mountain shading are done with a mixture of 4B and 6B. So the smoke which is coming out of the chimneys are blending with the other clouds. And I'm giving some layer of shading with the stump. So I'm not drawing any stroke, but I'm using the lid which is left on the stump to shade. Finally the sky with a very light stroke of my 6B pencil, and then finally blending them up with my stump. I'm figuring out the cloud with another layer of pencil stroke. Just to add some more elements, I'm also drawing few birds. So remember at the beginning I told you that the line through which we divide the whole paper into different zones have 4 meeting points. So we should keep the elements in those 4 meeting points. Like the bird, the house are always there in the 4 meeting point area. And that's how we finish our first landscape. Hope you enjoyed this session and wish to bring more content like this in future. Thank you and bye-bye.